Why is it doing that? Right, guys, let's try again. Apologies. I don't know what to manually turn it on in 1 day time. There we go. Right. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just going to say it's something beyond our control. I don't know what's messing with my connection. Everything is showing fine. Every time I switch something off, it switched back on, like it just does there. This is going to affect. Right, turn Wi-Fi back on in 1 day time. So why does it keep turning back on? I don't know what's up, guys.
Somebody asked if her favourite colour was pink, and yes, it was.
Yep.
She would only wear pink cardigans. Or yes, it is. Sorry, should I say her favourite colour is pink?
Take two, Nick. Yes. Coming from you, I can understand that, mate. I can only apologise, guys. Something is messing with my internet connection now. It just keeps turning my Wi-Fi on and off. And it's the Wi-Fi as it jumps from my Wi-Fi to my Ethernet connection. This is where I'm having the problem. I don't know why it's doing it. I'm just trying to see if I can stop it from doing it again, guys. There, it's done it again. I haven't a clue. It's I'll take it. It's spirit messing about. Guys, thank you for rejoining me. Apologies for the break in the communication. It's out of my control. It's either a phenomena or Vicky hasn't paid the broadband connection. God knows. But yeah, thank you for joining us, guys. I started off talking about crisis ghosts, astral traveling, and things very much the same with regard to our loved one who's quite poorly at this moment in time. If you guys have had any of these experiences, then they would make a good topic. If you'd like to talk about it, then please do, and we'll join in with this conversation. Things we're doing shortly, guys. What we're looking to do, which myself, Shane and Andrew did some time back, was the Battle of Towton, or Taunton, however it's pronounced, depends whether you're a Lancashirean or a Yorkshireman. The Battle of Taunton is described as probably the most bloodiest battle in the world, or in the UK, where 28,000 people died on a battlefield between the Yorkshiremen and the Lancastrians, if I pronounce it right. This was a battle which is, I think, now 151 years ago, and myself, Shane and Andrew actually went to this location on its anniversary, its 105th anniversary, and we witnessed not only spirit but some phenomena which we class as paranormal on this night, even to the extent that we actually saw what appeared to be a horseman riding across the field on a horse carrying a large flag, but this was a very faint apparition. We both saw it with our eyes, and we had no explanation of what it was actually doing. Excuse me for actually being slightly distracted, but I'm trying to keep this live feed going. For some reason, it keeps wanting to turn my Wi-Fi on, and I think it's the Wi-Fi which is causing the problem. This is something we're looking to do in the warmer months. We're gonna update GSI and let you know as and when we're doing that. And anyone in the neighbourhood nearby, it's probably going to be an event you can come along to and join. Bring a warm coat, some wellies and a flask, and some hobnobs for my good self, and then we'll entertain you for the night. But we'll let you know as and when that's going to happen, and we'll probably be looking around the anniversary of the battle. We will. That way we should get some residual and intelligent energy from the bloody battlefield. And I'm not swearing, but it was described as the biggest, bloodiest battle in the UK. Let me just give you a shout out, guys. Nick's back, Maria is back, David Anderson, good evening, Josephine Northover, Colette, Oil Spear, if that's your name. Ollie, apologies, Ollie. Hello there, Michael Smith. My uncle was an astral traveller. Yes, it's some people do it more than we actually know. I know my mum, who is a spiritual person, had the same experience herself. It was making connections with the daughter some time ago before they both passed to spirit. And my brother-in-law, who was married to my sister, actually seeing my mother stood on the drive one day, and when we finally made these reconnections with our family after both my mum and sister had passed, he told me of this time that my mum was stood there. Now, my mum didn't know where my daughter lived. We lost touch with him for some time, but yet he seen her stood there on the drive. My mum had actually projected her soul out there as an astral traveller, and made that connection, or just kind of stood back and watched what she couldn't have at the time, if that makes sense. It was due to a family feud that lost connection because of this, but my mum was pining for my daughter, she was, so that's what she did. Holly, hope you're well. Margaret, hope you're well. If we haven't seen you on here before, guys, please let us know where you're watching from, and we'll give you a shout out. We are broadcasting from the northeast of England on the east coast in a little town called Saltburn by the Sea. Let me know where you're watching from. If you haven't shared this already, then please do, guys. It'd be good for it to hit a bigger audience. That would be much appreciated. And if you're part of anything spiritual or paranormal, then please let us know in the comments. Pop your Facebook tag in there so these good people can follow you as well. Also, guys, we're off up to the Northeast Air Museum in Sunderland. It's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a museum, and it's got all the old artifacts, the old aeroplanes, anything which would have been used in the World Wars, World War I and II, then it's there. If they've managed to save it and restore it, then it's at this location. Our good selves were there quite numerous times, and we had one of our stories published with the national press with regards to what we found there and the apparition of the pilot who belonged to the helicopter. A lot of you guys have already seen this this link with regards to the pilot, but I will post it in the comments after we're finished as well. You can have a look at that article. Everything okay?
Some foreign guy who can only speak foreign but has managed to say foreign. I'm very sorry about that.
Did he manage to say that? I can see a load of...
yeah, then there's a comment saying foreign.
Right, okay then. Normally we get Google Translate, but you don't have to be here. We haven't jumped into your front room and forced ourselves down your throat, my friend, but it's... don't forget there's a disconnect button at the bottom of your page, and you can move on if you want to, or you can sit there and watch it to the end as if you'd like to do. Josephine, my son Paul feels he's been watching. He's watched, especially when his bedroom. He seems a strong presence in there. He seems a little spooked out by it. Bless him. But I've been to his room and don't feel there's anything there. We spoke about this not so long back, and I think I saw the videos what your son Paul had sent me. Spirit will show itself in mysterious forms. It does normally show itself as light in the first apparition. The more energy spirit will create, then obviously the stronger its energy will show. Hello there. I can't pronounce your name, but thank you for joining us. Anyway, shush. All right, sorry. Nicole White, thank you for joining us as well. Have I missed any names out? My ex-husband used to film me watching him when he was at work. Yes, I hope it was for the good reasons you were watching him as an astral traveller. But yes, we do get that kind of thing. I do find that when I'm speaking to some of my friends, when I'm giving a message, they do tell me that they did feel the presence of someone behind them. They could feel that energy, and they felt they were being watched. And when you're working on the paranormal side of it as well, you do hear this a lot, where people will say they're in some kind of environment and they feel that someone stood just slightly out of view in the darkness watching them. This is also something you will feel as well.
Cheryl, sorry.
Yeah.
Cheryl's put, my youngest got really upset the night before Christmas. She said her papa, her granddad, was going to die soon, and it was strange. She didn't say why she thought this, but it really upset her. He's okay, recovering from cancer, and he was in a car accident window too. He didn't need any treatment. So did he preempt that he was going to be in an accident? And luckily,
yeah,
you know, as I think she's commenting from the astral traveling.
Yeah.
You know, was
he a crisis ghost?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did he preempt what was happening and show himself to his granddaughter in them circumstances? More than likely, Cheryl, they do this, just as I explained in the earlier feed before I got cut off. Spirit, or should I say our loved ones here on this earth plane, can show themselves to a loved one prior to their death, prior to their transition in life. Transition is the period where the leaving their physical body over to spirit. What we also find as well, guys, is although some of our loved ones seem to suffer in their end of days, believe me, they don't. From what I've been told from working with spirit, you do find that although they show themselves to be in some kind of trauma and pain, they're not. They're actually, it's the body just doing its own thing whilst they're connecting to spirit. And there's a few spirits which have told me that prior to everything stopping working in the physical body, they'd already left the carcass and moved on, and that was just the body shutting down. A classic way of explaining that, it's like ketamine. Once you've been injected with that, if you've had an accident, then no matter how much your body flaps around and makes some noises and screams, believe me, that soul within inside that body who's been injected with ketamine will not experience any of that. They will not even know that that's what's happening, because it's the spirit drug, or the ketamine, the drug. It takes all that pain away from you. This sounds absolutely crazy, but my uncle stopped the National Lottery and made BBC Derby go off air. It freaked out his wife and his assistant governing bodies, and they sound crazy. I know it's fascinating. Nick works with TV. He does a lot of documentaries and programs and things like that. And he does work in the TV side of things. If anyone doesn't know who Nick is, then pop along. He'll gladly accept you as a friend and follow what he does. But yeah, that's amazing. It's kind of that Yuri Gagella thing, but without the actually boon spending.
Boon spending.
Boon spending. Sorry, that's my mum's false teeth I've got in again. Spoon bending. Boon spending, yeah. Where did that come from? Maybe I haven't had enough coffee yet. Helen Steele, thank you for joining. I hope you're well. A big shout out also to who them people we've just been to see.
What was it?
Yeah. Haley and Ben. They said they were going to tune in tonight, and if they couldn't, then they would watch later on. If you're watching this now, then hi. If you're watching at a later date, then thanks for your hospitality today. We really enjoyed your company. Yes, that's a ketamine, Nick. I found out I have done this quite frequently. I am a sensitive. I found later he was cheating, so I guess I was doing it on a subconscious level. Yes, if we put our mind into things enough, Marie, then our spiritual side of things, from our intuition and all the other things which interlink with this, we can it's like a copper's hunch, that kind of gut feeling, you know something's going wrong in a relationship or something else. And if what you've probably done there is spiritually connected and foreseen something, as you would say, clairvoyant, or on a psychic level. And you've been doing this, as you've said, subconsciously. And if it's something which is, how can I put this? I tend to connect differently to things if I'm emotionally affected by it. It's like the poems I write on the wall. If I'm emotionally upset by something, then I find I can write things straight off the top of the pad and put all that emotion into a poem, and it's kind of written for me by spirit. If I was to sit down now and try and write a poem, then I possibly couldn't, because I'm not emotionally charged. And where I'm going with this, Marie, is because of that charge of emotion within what was going wrong with the ex back then obviously your psychic side of things have worked over time, probably without you knowing, subconsciously, as you explained, and you've made these connections to the extent that you've actually, your energy's been there and he's felt you there. Amazing stuff. Mark Butterworth, hi, thank you for joining us, hope you're well. Gone weird on the tablet, well, stay off the paracetamol, but it's okay on my phone. Yes, we have had some problems. I think Michael Smith's with his Commodore 64 is the only one not complaining about the video feed. I'm assuming you can all still hear and see me. Everything's fine my end, as the missus once said. But yeah, I'm not having any problems here. So let me know if anything goes wrong. Kelly, thank you for joining us. Don't forget, guys, if you're new to the channel, let me know where you're watching from, what part of the world you're watching from. Feel free to share this live stream, because I know they're ever so popular on Facebook. Everyone likes to share these kind of things and let everyone see. Who knows, it may hit an audience and they may find something interesting from this. What else are we doing, guys? We've mentioned the North East Air Museum. It's on the 21st of April, which is only next month. It's limited places, guys. I think we can take 20 in total. So first come, first serve. But if you look down the GSI wall, you will see the pin post. You'll also see the picture of the pilot, the spirit who haunts the helicopter as of such. And you can have a little read about this location. It does date back to the First World War. It's the old Sunderland airfield, which is now part of Nissan and the museum as well, if anyone who's not familiar with that part of the Northeast. Any questions, Vicky? No. Right, we're still going.
We have got the opportunity as well to go to the haunted, the antiques new place that's opened in.
Where's that at?
Where it is. Hickory, is it Hickory?
I don't know the location. Yes, we did post on GSI.
Shared their thing, Haunted Antiques.
Haunted Antiques. There's a post on the GSI wall with regards to something the BBC covered, and the people are saying there's no evidence of these items being haunted, but these items were much loved items. They've all been collected to now a museum, and some of these items are very, very old, and they've had a lot of love and energy attached to them throughout the lives of these items. And they're asking the paranormal world to come to this location and see if they can get anything from it. If they can, then they're wanting us to leave that information in kind of a diary to see what other groups pick up and see if there's the same thing. So if a sensitive person was to go and get certain things from certain items, then they'll want to document that in the book. And then if another sensitive person or paranormal company come along and pick up the same thing, then obviously there's a possible chance that this could be fact, what people are connecting to. So yeah, it's on the GSI wall. Feel free to take a look at that as and when you're free to do so. Who else has joined? Kelly, Mark, Helen Steele. Any questions, guys? Any burning questions you would like to ask? Anything you want to fire away?
Bex said, are you allowed to touch the items? Yeah, they're all out for you to hold and touch and to do experiments with.
Yes, very much so.
The guy who I've been talking to, he isn't claiming any of them are haunted. He's had people saying that this is haunted, and what the museum is about is that you come and see if you can get any connection to these items.
I'm just going to get the link up now and see if I can pop it in our feed. Then you can have a look at it. How far back was it? Wasn't that far back, was it? Is that it? No. Let's have a look.
If they just pop onto Haunted Museum, they'll find everything that they've been doing.
I found it there.
They do live feeds and stuff.
Is that what it's called? Haunted Museum? Right. It featured on BBC East Midlands Facebook site. I don't know how long ago, but it's like I say, it's on our wall. What I'll do is I'll reshare the post to the top of our feeds, and that way you guys can find it a lot easier. I will. Right. Can't find it now. Right, I'm looking to answer your questions, guys. If you've got any questions you want to ask, then please feel free to fire away. Is there a burning question you want to ask? Is there something with regards to spirit, your loved one, experiences you've had? If you want to ask that question, then please feel free. Although I don't initially look to connect to spirit whilst I'm on this live stream, because it's very hard to channel spirit with the individual in the comments, but if anything was to come through whilst I'm speaking to you or answering your questions, then I would certainly mention that to you guys.
Nick has asked, my opinion from first-hand experience that using Ouija board is no different from standing out in a room and calling out, but others say that it's evil. I feel it has been branded that way by Hollywood and the media, but what's your opinion?
My opinion, Nick, I say this with the utmost respect. I don't want anyone to take offence, but I genuinely believe that the church created the word demonic, the word evil, the word negative, because 2,000 years ago we didn't have ghosts, and people say, why don't we see the spirit ghost of a caveman? Well, 2,000 years ago, when the churches came and started erecting all over here, we were asked to worship God. We were asked to worship Jesus. If we sinned, we went to hell. So the word hell appeared in our vocabulary 2,000 years ago. The word demonic also came into force when we were told by the church, whichever church you follow, that if we didn't worship the Holy Ghost and Christ, then obviously we would be dealing with something more sinister. People are worried about using a Ouija board because they think that it's going to incite something demonic, something evil. But I've always said, Nick, and I know you're not always on my live stream, exactly what you've said. Hollywood has created the negative side of Ouija boards, the people getting dragged across a room, up the side of the wall and across the ceiling, and then all blood coming down. It'll never, ever happen. We'll only ever deal with, Nick, what once walked on this earth. The worst person we'll ever deal with who's negative is the grumpy old man who lived next door. The worst other scenario, if we ever to connect to evil would be your Hitlers, your Fred Wests, and your other evil people who walk this earth plane. But in our walk of life, Nick, the things we do in our worlds will only ever deal with something negative. The Ouija board is an ITC. Well, it's not ITC. A Ouija board is a communicational device. I'm a communicational device. This is a camera, which is a communicational device, and your Ovilus, your K2, and your millimeter are also a K2 device. So that's all we're using the Ouija board for. We're asking spirit to manipulate what we do with the Ouija board, just like we do with the camera, just like what we do with the K2 and Ovilus. And through white noise or energy, we're asking spirit to manipulate that. People are always worried about something following them home, but as I famously now say, why the hell would spirit follow you home and watch Jeremy Kyle every morning? It just wouldn't happen, Nick. The silver screen has created the negative side of the Ouija board. I'm not the best believers in him. As Lee Steer once did on his live feed the other night, if the Ouija board can move itself and spirit's got the energy to move it, then why do we need to put our fingers on it? Let it move the glass around itself. People kind of get influenced by thought and memories, and then when something may come through from their loved one, they're going to know the initials, they're going to know the dates, they're going to know the times and the things on the timeline. So it's very hard to kind of believe that it's genuine. We wouldn't expect a paranormal investigator to be using it, because he would be just stimulating the audience, and a family member using the Ouija board whilst a member from spirit comes through, then they're going to know the answers anyway, aren't they? So it's one of them things we kind of leave to the back, and we tend not to use, and we use our greatest gift, and that's the mind, body and soul, to communicate with spirit, along with some of our good friends who are following us on here as well. I hope that answers your question, Nick. I hope I didn't articulate too much on it, as I'm famous for.
I think it's so difficult. If you put your hands out in front of you and try and keep them there, close your eyes and try and keep them in the same position, that's exactly what you're trying to do with the glass and your finger, aren't you?
Yeah.
It is so difficult, but subconsciously you're wanting a message.
Yeah, yeah.
So subconsciously, even though you don't want to move that glass, but your hand can't keep still enough for you to keep that control. So for me, personally, I think Ouija boards are absolute rubbish. I don't believe in them. I wouldn't trust, apart from my bestest friends, to go on a board with anybody. And even
it's
then, not fair when people do go on it, and I've had experiences on it. I'm not against them, I just don't believe in them. And I've had experiences where it broke my heart when someone brought through my brother, and it was selfish of them because I knew he wasn't there, but yet I was getting a message from him, and it broke my heart. And I just don't think they're fair. I disagree with them very much.
It's like the crystals, the pendulum. I think we've got some hung on our door frame, if I can get it. There's a chain just there hung on our door. It's a pendulum. It's crystals, healing crystals. A lot of people will stand and hold that crystal in front of them. It'll be dangling down, and then they ask that to swing back and forth or go round and round. How hard is it to keep your hand in that position? Because if you move your hand 1 millimeter, then that's going to sway 2 millimeters. If you move your hand 2 millimeters, then that's going to sway 3 millimeters. It's unless you physically hang it from a source which isn't moving, like a bar or a tree, or it's not going to be manipulated by wind, or as we've got on our door and the door's shut tight. Unless something physically moves that door, then the pendulum is not going to move. If we ask spirit to move that crystal as a pendulum form, whilst it's on something which is static and it can't be moved, then if it starts moving, then obviously we're looking at saying it's paranormal. There's an explanation. It's unexplainable. We believe it's to be manipulated by spirit. So that's how we like to work with it, because it's very hard to keep your hand very still. And when you drink as much wine as Vicky does, then it's very hard to keep anything still. I think Haley's just joined us as well somewhere. I've just seen her pop up somewhere. Any more questions, guys? My comments are moving now for some reason.
People are just saying I've had a lot of experience with a lot of things happening on the Ouija board. The mind can manipulate the Ouija board, can't it? You have to keep an open mind.
Very much so, yeah.
Someone said that the broadcast got interrupted when I spoke. And just saying hello to each other.
Good. I still have, this is still live on my screens, although my comments are moving up, so I'll have to rely on Vicky shouting out the comments if I'm missing anything. Anything else? No more topics?
Got a really bad headache.
Have you?
It's just come on.
Okay. You want to go and take some tablets and I'll watch that?
No.
Right. Any more comments? No, nothing. Right, what time are we on? Right, we're hitting the 10 to the hour mark, guys. What I'm going to do now is end the live stream, guys. Apologies for the interruption initially. I don't know what caused it, what was affecting it, but thank you for joining us anyway. What I'll do is look at these comments once I end the live stream. Then if there's anything I've missed, I'll see if I can re-answer that. If you've still got any more comments you'd like to add, then please do, because we can go back into the live stream and answer them comments as well. What else was I going to say? If you're watching this now and you're getting to the stage where you're going to comment, but the live stream is finished, this first went out on Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the evening. If you come across this live stream, you can still share this live stream if you think it'll hit an audience or someone who you know may actually find something they like from this, or they may get some closure from what we've talked about tonight. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, sorry, Mark has just said, where would I be able to get a spirit box?
A spirit box, there's a lot of pages on Facebook who sell the paranormal equipment. I'm assuming you're talking about the SP7 or 11. I think Amazon may still have some, which I'm checking for you now. If you type in ghost equipment on Amazon, I think there's a special section there for us people, ghost men, ghostly, ghostbusters, ghost perfume. I'm sure it's ghost hunting equipment on Amazon. By the way, they're not sponsoring me for this. This is something I'm doing for you. But from time to time, you will get a private seller selling their gadgets on here. Some will be new, straight from the manufacturer. There doesn't initially seem to be any on there as I look now. There's a speaker for a spirit box. But no, the kind of come and go spirit boxes. I think we initially paid £79 for ours brand new some years ago. And if you get hold of a second-hand one, then you shouldn't really be paid any more than that, because they were that brand new. So I would, because there's none on Amazon at this moment in time, and I can't off the top of my head recommend anywhere else other than the Facebook paranormal channels who sell ghost hunting equipment. I dare say if you type in on Facebook ghost hunting equipment, Mark, something will come up, or even if you just do a word search, ghostshop.com, Vicky said, even if you put in the worst, even if you put in the word spirit box SP7 or something like that, I'm sure Facebook will find a link where it has that in. It's like pressing Control and F7. If the word's there, it'll find it. And I think Facebook does do something like that. I'm going to try it myself. Spirit box on Spirit Box. I'm doing this on Facebook, and it's found posts which all contain the word Spirit Box on. So somewhere along there, you should find. There's one sold. So you should find one somewhere, or just try the ghostshop.com. That's probably another option. Amazon's probably the cheapest because it's like the Ovilus free. We paid £170 for ours, and I think some of them have been selling because they're discontinued for up to £1,000, which is ridiculous considering it's like 3/4 more than what it was initially. But yeah, thank you for joining, guys. Don't forget you can still share anything you want to say. Please pop them in the comments. What we'll do, we'll post our link in here for the Air Museum, which is coming next month. If there's any places left, then we'll let you know. But thank you for joining. Sorry for the hiccups. A big hello to each and every one of you, and I'll also look at answering some of your comments now off air, off screen. So thank you for joining, guys. Safe evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. Big gust of wind come by me then. Take care, guys. All the best. Take care.